Hey, welcome back. How's it going, everyone? I'm back to do a tag video. My friend Rob of Rob's Movie Collection has tagged me to do his director's tag. What he wants us to do is name our top favorite directors, top 10 favorite directors, and our favorite film from each one of those directors. So I'm going to do something a little bit different. And instead of talking about the acknowledged great directors, people like Scorsese and um, Orson Welles, all these great people, because I love so many directors, a lot of them that I try to follow. And I'm going to talk about the directors of B movies, B films, second features, programmers, okay, which in my particular mindset and my collection, I think I love the B movies every bit as much as I do the A films and the big budget blockbusters with great stars and all that. I have a lot of B movies, and I think they've given me more pleasure over the years than the other ones. So, anyway, that's what I'm gonna do. B movies. Okay, so let's start out here. These are in no particular order because I love all these people. So let's start out with a guy named Jack Arnold. And of course, you're all wondering who in the hell is Jack Arnold? Well, Jack Arnold is a director who started working in 1947, has a long string of film and television, and he was responsible for films like It Came from Outer Space, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Revenge of the Creature, Tarantula, High School Confidential. I know you all love that one. I do. And Monster on the Campus, plus a lot more. But the one that I'm going to choose from Jack Arnold is this classic science fiction, The Incredible Shrinking Man. This is a film that it is so serious and so good, so well done that it packs a punch today. Even putting it aside some of the you know what's the word I'm looking for, CGI masterpieces of today. This is something that can still move audiences when they see it. If you haven't seen this yet, I highly recommend it. Okay, it stars Grant Williams as the man who shrinks. Randy Stewart plays his wife. The screenplay was by Richard Matheson. Okay, great film. All right, next up is William Castle. Now that's a name that most of you are going to know. William Castle started working back in 1939 as a director. So he has a long string of films from every genre, westerns, mysteries, all kinds of things. In 1944, he did a little film noir, low budget film noir called When Strangers Marry, which is noteworthy to me because it was an early starring role for Robert Mitchum, and he was very good at it. Very young, thin Robert Mitchum. Okay, he also did films like Macabre in 1958, The Tingler, Homicidal, Straitjacket. He was also the producer of the classic Rosemary's Baby. But my number one William Castle film is always going to be House on Haunted Hill from 1958. Or is it 1959? I can't remember. I think it's 1958. Vincent Price, uh, full of gimmicks and jump scares and all kinds of cool stuff, and still one of the best horror films ever made. I think this would be a close tie with The Tingler. That's also a great film, but this is the one I like to watch most. All right, next up is a guy named William Asher. That might be a familiar name to some of you. Did a lot of mostly television. He did 102 episodes of I Love Lucy. He was a producer and frequent director of Bewitched. He was also married to Elizabeth Montgomery at the time, but he is also known for the Beach Party films. Okay, starting in 1963, he did Beach Party, the sequels, Muscle Beach Party, Bikini Beach, Beach Blanket Bingo, and How to Stuff a Wild Bikini. So, I mean, that's a legacy that anybody could be proud of. All right. Beach Party Tonight. Next up is a guy named Edgar G Ulmer. Very interesting guy. Started working back in 1930. He was responsible for the movie The Black Cat, starring Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff back in 1934. He did films like Strange Illusion, The Man from Planet X, Daughter of Dr. Jekyll, The Amazing Transparent Man, and Beyond the Time Barrier. But my number one Edgar G. Ulmer film, one I've talked about many times, is always going to be Detour from 1945, made in something like I don't know, 15 minutes. No, I think it was made in maybe 2 weeks or something. Very low budget, and is acknowledged as a classic today, as it should be. Detour. Next up is a guy named John Brahm, Braham, who started working back in 1936. Again, a long list of credits going into television in the 1950s. He did films like The Lodger, Hangover Square, which is kind of a remake of The Lodger. A great little film noir called The Locket, also featuring Robert Mitchum. He did The Mad Magician with Vincent Price. He did 10 episodes of Alfred Hitchcock Presents, 12 episodes of Thriller, the anthology series that was hosted by Boris Karloff, and 12 episodes of The Twilight Zone. But the film I'm going to pick for him is this low budget gem from 1942 called The Undying Monster, which has recently come out on Blu ray. I had never seen this before. And it is a very beautifully shot film. It's beautiful to look at, black and white cinematography. So I think a lot of you would enjoy this. All right. The Undying Monster. Next up is a guy named Edward L Kahn, Kahn, who started working back in 1931. Whole list of genre films that I know you all love. Creature with the Atom Brain, The She Creature, Girls in Prison, Drag Strip Girl, Invasion of the Saucer Men, Motorcycle Gang, Riot in Juvenile Prison. How you can't go wrong with titles like that. But the best movie from Edward L. Kahn has to be It, The Terror from Beyond Space, 1958. Wow. This is sort of an inspiration for the movie Alien. It's a great, great science fiction movie. Great monster, great sets. Okay. Have you seen this? It's worth it, let me tell you. Next up is a guy named Gene Fowler Jr., who doesn't have a very long filmography. He also worked as an editor. He was the editor for movies like Hang 'em High and It's a Mad World. So he had a varied career. But if he never directed another movie, he would be known for this classic, I Was a Teenage Werewolf, which is a great, great movie from 1958, American International Pictures. Now, I Was a Teenage Frankenstein was directed by a guy named Herbert L Strozek. He's going to be my honorable mention here. I wasn't going to include him, but he directed I Was a Teenage Frankenstein. He also directed the sequel to both of these movies called How to Make a Monster, which is pretty cool. And one of my favorite low budget teenage monster movies, Blood of Dracula, in 1950, 57, 58. Yeah, okay. So that's my honorable mention. Next up is a guy named Joseph H. Lewis, who started working back in 1937. Again, a long strain of all kinds of movies. He worked with Bela Lugosi in a film called The Invisible Ghost, which is actually pretty good. And then he was known for doing a couple of classic film noirs later on. One is Gun Crazy, a film that I've talked about in a couple of videos. Very good film back from 1950. And also this movie, The Big Combo, from 1955, right? 1955, which is one of the darkest film noirs ever made. Cornell Wilde, Gene Wallace, Richard Conte, Brian Donlevy, um, let's see, Earl Holliman, and Lee Van Cleef. Very, very bizarre and very hard hitting film noir. Okay, worth seeing. Next up is a guy named, let's see, Bernard L. Kowalski. Okay, and he started working in 1956. He's kind of a late comer and has a nice set of titles here. Films that I like Hot Car Girl. I know you've all seen that one many times. I actually own that film. Night of the Blood Beast, very interesting science fiction. And this classic here, The Attack of the Giant Leeches, starring the glorious Yvette Vickers, okay, which is on a nice double bill with Screaming Skull. I'd like to get a better copy of the Giant Leeches. It's sometimes just called the Giant Leeches, as it is here. Uh, Really cool movie. How do you explain the Giant Leeches? I guess there's really no way that you can, so I'm not going to try. But it's Yvette Vickers, folks. All right. Now, last but certainly not least, is a very, very well known name, William One Shot Bodine. This is a guy, let's see, he started making films in 1915. I think he was born in 1892, and he died in 1970. He had over 350 films that he made in his lifetime. And he everything, a long string of silent movies, and then he made it up into the talking era. He did films like The Ape Man with Bela Lugosi, and a couple of other films with Lugosi. He did Ghosts on the Loose. He did The Voodoo Man, and he did this enduring classic, Bela Lugosi meets a Brooklyn Gorilla. It doesn't get any better than this. I mean, this movie has everything. It has comedy. It has drama. It has a dumb guy in an ape suit. It has two guys who imitate uh, Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis. A guy named Duke Mitchell and Sammy Petrillo, who plays the Jerry Lewis character, and they're actually very cool, very funny. And Duke Mitchell actually sings very well, but Bela Lugosi is his camp best. Okay, so William One Shot Bodine. He also did a lot of television. He directed episodes of the Mickey Mouse Club. He did episodes of Spin and Marty. He did later on. He did a couple of movies that in 1966 he made a comeback in the horror genre. He did Billy the Kid versus Dracula and Jesse James meets Frankenstein's daughter. Now that's some year. 1 year he did these films. So what the hell? And he also directed the very first film that I ever saw in a theater. It was a Disney film called Westward Ho! The Wagons in 1956. Okay, so that's my video for the tag. I'd like to invite. I'm gonna let's see. I was gonna name three people. Rob asked us to tag three people, but I'm gonna tag four, so I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna tag 4K Frank, Roger Kirby, the Noir Channel, my friend Castor, and Mayo's Movies, Joe. Okay, so you guys can jump in. I hope you do. And Rob, thank you for including me in your tag. And I'm out of here.